ADD? ADD is attention deficit disorder, which includes symptoms of hyperactivity, which is more mainly called ADHD, which is more known than ADD, attention difficulty, of course it's in the name, and impulsiveness. In a classroom of 30 students, just like ours, 1 out of every 3 children has ADD. So in our class, there is probably 1 to 2. The one you can find out is being called by Mr. Weidman all the time, not focusing on the lesson plan, and always looking somewhere else other than his or her work. I have a theory on who this already might be. Anyway, back to my story. So, these are my siblings. This is Taylor at 26, Bryson at 23, Haley at 20, and me at 15. I'm turning 16 in June, so I'll finally be older until my sister turns 27, and then we're back to 11 years older and me being the youngest again. There is one difference between us all, though. I am the only one in my whole family that does not have ADD or ADHD. My sister was the way we found out that we have ADD or ADHD. In 6th grade, Taylor was not focusing on her classwork, was disrespecting teachers, didn't even touch homework once she got home. She would not even touch the TV, would not go on Netflix right when she heard there was a new episode of her favorite show. And she would do her homework immediately. She would always help the teachers whenever they needed it. Perfect student, as we all can see. However, they wondered if this was happening to their first kid, could it happen to their other 2? She went to the doctors and she had to be tested numerous times throughout the year. And all the doctors came together and said, "I'm sorry, but your daughter has depression." This is really interesting due to these do not match any of the depression symptoms. And knowing my sister, it is not at all plausible, because it's just weird, because Taylor never showed any symptoms of depression. She was still kind to all the other people. She was still sociable, and she never locked herself out. She never pushed people away. But due to her quote-unquote depression, she had to take antidepressants and been given a counselor for the depression. Due to taking the antidepressants, she had been diagnosed with a brain tumor. Later, after taking those, that would change her life forever and change who she was. Sorry, I'm kind of emotional about it. So, and then that antidepressant would make her dilemma 10 times worse. So, when she went to the counselor to be checked for her depression, the counselor said, "You don't have depression, you have ADD." So when I'm told this story about 10 years later, how could doctors mistake ADD for depression, and how could a counselor see it through? How could ADD all of a sudden just pop up in our family? ADD is genetically passed through either the mother's genes or the dad's genes. And also, if one of the parents has ADD or ADHD, there's a 50% chance of their first child gaining that as well. But if the first sibling has ADD or ADHD, the next child has 30% chance. So it kind of makes sense to why I don't have it. Taylor had ADD, so she gave Bryson a 30% chance. Haley, the next one, got ADD, so she had a smaller chance of having ADD, but still plausible. And then that took even less of a chance for me to gain it. So that makes sort of sense. However, when my brain wanted and went down this road, it was at a crossroads. Should I go for ADD or should I go for anxiety? Which one do you think I took? Anxiety at 70 miles per hour. Such a great choice. But my brother is entirely different than my sisters. Other than being a boy in an all-girl family, he had ADHD. He would always be tapping his foot and not paying attention, and he had to move in order to concentrate, such as I have to right now. And you would just hear him at the dinner table while we're talking, just tapping his foot repeatedly, as if he's a disapproving mom that wants you to finish with the makeup and the winged eyeliner just so we can get to school on time. But it's interesting, as if boys have 3 times more likely a chance to have ADD than girls, due to more testosterone in the brain and a less organizational pattern. Girls have more estrogen, as do boys do with testosterone, but we are more organized and more tactical with how we place emotions and everything. But also, the last way a child can have ADD and ADHD is because of a parent's educational level, which seems kind of out there, I know, but based on the parent's educational level, if, let's say, the dad dropped out of college, okay, still pretty high, but still may have a chance. But if they never went to school and have a child, they would have a weak parenting style and then making a weak environment for their child to learn in. So they would be used to not paying attention, not doing classwork, not respecting other people, thus creating more of a chance of having ADD as a child. We think of ADD symptoms as regular habits, such as making careless mistakes. For example, if you're doing a chem lab and you use the wrong measurements, so you use millimeters instead of centimeters. Or if you do 7 squared equals 14. Another one is not following through on the task, such as you're going to feed your starving dog that's straight outside. You have the food in your hand, and you hear your phone go off. So you walk over and get your food, and you put the food down, and you start going on your phone, and then you forget your dog outside with no food. And the last one is fidgeting with your hands while remaining still, such as my brother always tapping his feet when we have nowhere to go. Normal people aren't the only ones that have ADD or ADHD. It is not rare, but it is very much real, such as Adam Levine has it, Michael Phelps, and Paris Hilton. Don't really count the last one as a celebrity, but I needed a third example to make everything even, so let's just deal with it. But my point is made. ADD may not be rare, but it is real and everyone can have it. I used to have a friend that would make fun of ADD and use the excuse of saying, Mr. Whiteman's wearing black because I have ADD. I failed that test because I have ADD. The last one was pretty plausible, but if you think about the other one, that does not make sense. I was deeply hurt because I have a family that suffered from ADD. So we are the family that we are the generation, almost a family of kids that are born in the same time. And we keep making life better. We keep pursuing new options. Making fun of ADD may not be like making fun of a child with special needs, but it's still real and it still affects those that have it. Are we going to be the generation that holds back from spreading awareness about ADD? Or are we going to push forward and tell others about it and make them feel as if they're just as important as kids with special needs or even cancer? It may not be as big, but it's still out there and it still affects other people. I have made my choice. Have you?